What's the biggest family secret you learned by accident? I never thought cleaning out my grandma's attic would destroy everything I believed about my family. She'd been in the nursing home for months, and Mom asked me to sort through her things. Most of it was old photos and dusty books, but then I found a locked metal box hidden behind Christmas decorations. The key was taped underneath. Inside were dozens of letters tied with a red ribbon, all addressed to my grandma from someone named James. But my grandpa's name was Robert. I opened one from 1962. My dearest Margaret, I can't wait until we can finally be together. This secret is killing me, but your husband can never know about us or our son. Our son? My heart stopped. The letter was dated 3 months before my dad was born. I grabbed another letter from 1985. Tommy looks just like you. Every time I see him at family gatherings, I want to tell him the truth, but we agreed to keep this buried forever. Tommy. That's my dad's name. My hands were shaking as I kept reading. Letter after letter talking about their affair, about how James was my dad's real father, and how they ate in secret for years. Then I found a photo. A man who looked exactly like my dad, holding a baby. On the back it said, James and Tommy, 1962. I confronted my dad that night. He went pale and sat down hard. He told me he'd suspected for years because he looked nothing like Grandpa Robert, but Grandma always denied it. The next day we drove to the address from the letters. James still lived there. When he opened the door, it was like looking at my dad in 30 years. He broke down crying and hugged my dad. He said he'd wanted to tell him the truth his whole life, but promised my grandma he'd take the secret to his grave. Turns out James had been at every single one of our family gatherings. He was Grandma's friend from church. He'd watched my dad grow up from a distance, celebrated every birthday and graduation, but could never claim him as his son. My dad forgave him immediately. He said he finally understood why he never felt like he belonged in our family. But here's the twist that broke my heart. James had been leaving my dad money in his will this whole time. He'd been planning to leave him everything, including a letter explaining the truth. He was dying of cancer and only had months left. That's why he'd been writing to Grandma more often lately, begging her to let him tell my dad before it was too late. When we visited Grandma at the nursing home, she finally admitted everything. She said she was terrified of losing both men, so she kept the secret for 60 years. My dad spent James's last 3 months getting to know his real father. They looked identical, had the same laugh, even the same weird habit of tapping their fingers when thinking. James passed away peacefully, holding my dad's hand. At the funeral, we learned he'd been secretly helping our family financially for years. Every time we had money troubles, an anonymous check would arrive. He'd been my dad's father in every way except name. Now my dad keeps all of James's letters on his nightstand. He says reading them feels like getting a lifetime of love letters from the father he never knew he had. Sometimes the biggest family secrets aren't meant to hurt you. They're just love that was too complicated to share.